In today's Leeds news, Rodon picks up awards, increased cash windfall for Elland Road upgrade, Leeds linked with Kobe Mainoo, and Premier League learning curve. Hey folks, welcome to the Leeds View, Friday the 7th of November with your Leeds United news. I hope you're all having a really good week so far. We've Daniel Farke's press conference at about 1:30 today. We will be over on bigup.com after that to do a reaction and a review of that press conference, get ready for the game on Sunday against Nottingham Forest. We'll also have the stats pack out tonight, which will cover all of the form guide, team news for both sides, statistics and data heading into the weekend's game. If that's your bag, you can check that out later on tonight, and the breakdown tomorrow will be out looking at how Leeds can do things a little bit differently. But there's not a huge amount of stuff to get stuck into today. It's pretty quiet on the ground. It tends to be around a press conference day. So we'll start off though and get stuck into the Joe Rodon Award. And Leeds United's AMT Auto Player of the Month award for October was presented yesterday. Centre back Joe Rodon picked up the Player of the Month award for October, and he did so with 42% of the supporters' vote. Second place was Sean Longstaff, who came in with 22% of the fan vote. Brendan Aronson in third with 13%, and Gabby Goodmunson down in fourth with 12% of that vote. So well done to Joe on picking up that award, and we'll have more from Joe towards the back end of the video. Let's move on. Let's talk about Elland Road and the cash windfall. One of Leeds United's main aims with Elland Road expansion is to increase matchday revenue, as well as use Elland Road to be an all-up revenue generator for the club. Leeds currently bring in and around £1.58 million per home game, and the idea is to try and get that up to the mark that Spurs have, which is in and around £4 million per home game, and ideally go beyond that again. In a PSR world, it's important for Leeds United to try and maximise every single revenue lever they possibly can. The more money they can bring on a match day revenue, the more money that could be available for transfers and upgrading the squad where needed. Leeds brought in £30 million during the 22-23 season, and while the estimate for the redevelopment of Elland Road is anywhere between £58 million and £75 million per year on football alone. But Leeds also plan to use the Elland Road for events, concerts and attractions, and make it an all-year, 7-day-a-week revenue generator for the club. This would put Leeds United in the top 6 in the Premier League in terms of just matchday revenue alone. But the 49ers have got quite a bit of experience in generating cash using their stadium in the past. Levi Stadium in San Francisco is currently the highest revenue generating stadium in the NFL over the past 2 seasons, and Leeds also plans steps increase the area around Elland Road as well, with more shops, restaurants, bars, clubs. And the idea is to keep you at Elland Road longer and spend more money while you're there, and then be attracted up to that area during the week as well when there are no games going on as well. The more money they can bring in from all of those situations, the more money Leeds United will have to spend down the road. They're also planning to get a light rail service in place as well, and that is part of the transport blueprint that we've discussed over the last few weeks as well with that. But it's an exciting one, but Leeds can try and bring in as much money as they can with this. It's going to be an exciting thing. We're waiting on the November update, which will come in the next couple of weeks, to see if they've gotten the green light to get ready to put spades in the ground at the end of this season. So we're getting very close to the final decisions on Elland Road. As we said last week, the feasibility work is already done. The planning work has been done. There's 10 million quid gone into it already. So they're very much down the road on this. They get that little last green light, away we go with the redevelopment of Elland Road. And it isn't dependent on Leeds United's Premier League status, in case people are worrying or wondering about that. Let's move on. Bit of transfer news or transfer rumour, take it with a pinch of salt as per usual until we get something slightly more concrete on it. And during the summer, Leeds United were linked with a potential move for England midfielder Kobe Mainoo, but according to the Yorkshire Post, they say that Leeds are once again being linked with a move for the midfielder. The 20-year-old wants to be part of England's World Cup squad this summer. In order to do that, he needs to get some game time, and right now he doesn't appear to be in Ruben Amorim's plans at Manchester United. The report states that there is talk of a potential loan exit for the player come January, and Leeds are said to be one of the clubs interested, and Leeds apparently, according to the report, could be the front runners to get him as well. And there's an interesting point on that to be made towards the back of this story, but loans in January could be Leeds' absolute best bet of upgrading this squad given the tight PSR situation. Leeds still have 3 available loan spaces, having not used any during the summer window, so it could be a way for Leeds to increase the quality in this squad and give Leeds the quality that they need to survive in the Premier League this season. Leeds showed interest in Mainoo during the summer, but even though there was talk of a loan move at that point, it never really reached an advanced stage. The loan market and the World Cup crossing over with each other is a very interesting story in itself. Leeds may not be the club to attract a lot of attacking players or exciting players because we're not a top 6 club, or not the top half of the Premier League. But given that it's a World Cup year, there will be a lot of players, not just in England, but in world football, who will want regular minutes to be able to push themselves into World Cup squads, and that could put a side like Leeds in a very strong position. Manchester City and Newcastle have also been linked with moves for Kobbie Mainoo, but Leeds can offer him more likely more guaranteed minutes than those two clubs, even though Leeds don't offer guaranteed minutes. You bring a quality player in, he's likely to play more football, and that could be the case with other players that Leeds could target this summer. And then you're looking at potential this January, then you're looking at potential loans with obligations or loans with options, which could help Leeds. Could be a shortcut to trying to add more quality to this squad, and it could mean that more than one of the initially rumoured players or initially rumoured positions could come in for Leeds in January. But it is going to be a busy one, and it's likely to be a time of the year, given the games that are coming up in the next couple of weeks, where Leeds will have a strong look at the January transfer window. We'll get more detail on that as and when we get it. But let's move on. Let's talk about a learning curve in the Premier League. BBC Leeds' Adam Pope sat down this week to speak with Leeds United's Welsh duo of Joe Rodon and Ethan Ampadu, and there have been moments this year where this Leeds United side have looked absolutely at the level of the Premier League, and there's been other moments this season where they have looked way off it. Skipper Ampadu said that you can't afford to switch off in the Premier League even for a moment, and it's a massive learning curve that the squad are having to deal with. Speaking to Adam Pope, Ethan Ampadu said the following: I think everyone's aware of this, just how clinical and brutal the Premier League is. There's been games where we've felt that we've performed okay and should have gotten more out of it, but even if you give 10 seconds of a lack of concentration, the other team will punish you. So that's definitely been a learning curve. Learning curves that we've just learned from ourselves and helps to enable us to put in our best performance. Adapting to the Premier League isn't a given. No side or no player has a divine right to walk into the Premier League and just be at the level. It takes work, and it's not easy at all, and that shouldn't be taken for granted. Ethan Ampadu has been one of Leeds United's best players over the last couple of years and has had some really, really strong games this season, but at the same time, he has been victim of those temporary lapses in concentration and been punished because of that. But he's not alone by any stretch of the imagination. Across the entire Leeds squad this year, we have seen moments of just a lack of focus or lack of concentration for split seconds, and you do, in fact, get punished. A learning curve is one thing, but it's a learning curve they're going to have to learn pretty quickly if they give themselves a chance of staying in this league. But Adam Pope moved on, and he spoke to Joe Rodon then about what Leeds need to do in away games, and he's talked about that this week in the Don't Go to Bed Just Yet podcast as well, about what Leeds need to do and set up differently for away games, but how do they get more out of their attacking options. And Joe Rodon had the following to say on that: it's about being brave, not just that, but more confidence. For me, I know what this team is capable of playing with the ball and how comfortable and dominant this team can be on the ball. So I think it's just more believing. So probably a big thing is the first 20 minutes in away games. It's really important. You've got to start fast. And I felt that we didn't do that at the weekend. And of course, in this league, you're going to get punished. I think there's a lot of things that we look at and we try to work on. Our main point is probably just as a team being more confident, brave and smart. And like I said, stay in games and continue to play and be brave and let the rest take care of itself. It was something Sean Longstaff shouted at the Leeds United players when he scored his first goal for Leeds. It was about believing that you belong in this division and just being a bit calmer on the pitch, believing in yourself a little bit more and having the confidence to play football and get forward and put pressure on opposition's teams. And you can try everything you want in football. You can set up the right way. You can have the best will in the world to go out and perform, and then you come up against an opposition who've got equal or better players, a better or equal manager, different tactics, and you've got to find ways of silencing what they can bring to a game in order to highlight the positives that you can bring to the game as well. And that's something that Leeds are going to have to figure out in the next couple of weeks. But fighting their way into games is something Leeds are going to have to do. Dig in, grit your teeth and get stuck in. But if you want to check out the rest of that interview, you can do so. It's on BBC Leeds or West Yorkshire Sport. And outside of that, folks, I'll be back over on bigup.com straight after the press conference to cover what Daniel Farke has said going into the Nottingham Forest game. Stats packs out tonight, and the breakdown video of what Leeds can do differently will be out tomorrow. Outside of that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.